There are verses in the Bible that churches quietly skip, not because they are confusing, because they are uncomfortable, because they challenge something we have built our comfortable theology around, and Matthew 10:6-7 is one of them. Jesus is sending out his 12 disciples for the first time. This is a massive moment. He is releasing them, giving them authority, giving them a mission, sending them out into the world to do what he has been doing. And before they take a single step, he gives them their instructions. Matthew 10:5-6. These 12 Jesus sent out, instructing them, "Go nowhere among the Gentiles, and enter no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Go to the lost sheep. That is the mission, not the found ones, not the ones already sitting comfortably in the synagogue, the lost ones, the ones who have wandered, the ones who feel too far gone, the ones nobody else was going to go looking for. And then verse 7. "And proclaim as you go, the kingdom of heaven is at hand." As you go. Not when you arrive somewhere impressive, not when you have a platform or a title or a building. As you go. In the movement itself, in the ordinary steps of an ordinary day. That is the verse. And it has something to say to you right now that most Sunday sermons will never get to. Picture the moment. 12 men standing in front of Jesus in first-century Galilee. Fishermen, a tax collector, men with rough hands and complicated histories. None of them had formal religious training. None of them had credentials. By every measure, the religious establishment of the day used to evaluate who mattered. These men did not qualify. And Jesus looks at them and says, "Go," not "Go when you are ready," not "Go once you have studied enough," not "Go after you have worked through all your doubts and gotten your life completely together." Go, right now, as you are. The lost sheep of Israel were scattered across villages and hillsides. People who had grown up knowing the promises of our Father but had lost their way, crushed under the weight of Roman occupation, buried under religious rules they could never keep, told so many times that they were not enough that they had started to believe it, and Jesus sends 12 ordinary men to find them, not with a polished program, with a message. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Something has changed. Something is here, and it is for you. Now here is what most people miss about the instruction. Go to the lost sheep. Jesus is not being exclusive. He is being strategic. He is not saying Gentiles do not matter. The rest of the Gospels and the entire book of Acts make clear that the mission eventually reaches everyone. What he is saying here is start close. Start where you are. Start with the people right in front of you who are already wandering and waiting to be found. Because the lost sheep of Israel were not strangers to our Father. They were his people. They knew the Scriptures. They had grown up with the promises. But somewhere between the promise and the present, they got lost. Religion became performance. Faith became fear. And they drifted from the very Father who had been pursuing them for centuries. Does that sound like anyone you know? Does it sound like anyone you see in the mirror? The lost sheep is not always someone who has never heard of our Father. Sometimes it is someone who has heard of him their whole life and still feels miles away from him, still not sure they are loved, still carrying the weight of everything they have done wrong, still waiting for permission to come home. That is who Jesus sends his disciples to find. And that is who he is sending you to reach. As you go, sit with those 3 words for a moment, because they reframe everything about what it means to live with purpose. The disciples did not have a stage. They had a road. They did not have an audience. They had the next village, the next conversation, the next person standing in front of them who needed to hear that the kingdom was closer than they thought. And the instruction was not go and then proclaim. It was proclaim as you go. The mission was not a separate event from the life. It was woven into the movement of it. Every step was an opportunity. Every conversation was a doorway. Every ordinary moment of an ordinary journey was the place where the kingdom of heaven showed up. That is still true today. The road you are walking right now, Your neighborhood, your workplace, your family dinner table, the checkout line at the grocery store. That is your mission field. Not someday when you are more prepared. Right now, as you go. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. That phrase meant something electric to first-century Jewish ears. They had been waiting for the kingdom for centuries. Prophets had spoken about it. Psalms had sung about it. Generation after generation had held on to the hope that our Father was going to move, that something was going to change. And here were 12 ordinary men walking into their villages saying, "It is here, right now, closer than you have ever imagined." That same message has not lost its power. The kingdom is still at hand, still present, still available to every person who feels lost, overlooked, too far gone, too broken to come back. When you carry that message into your day, not as a rehearsed speech but as a lived reality, you are doing exactly what Jesus sent those 12 men to do. You are finding the lost sheep. You are saying with your life, with your words, with the way you love people, the kingdom is closer than you think. Our Father has not given up on you. You are not too far. Come home. Here is what makes Matthew 10:6-7 so uncomfortable for some churches. It is specific. It is directional. It does not let faith stay abstract and comfortable. It sends you somewhere, to someone, with something to say. A faith that goes nowhere, reaches no one, and changes nothing in the world around it. Is that the faith Jesus was describing when he said go? He did not say sit. He did not say maintain. He said go, to the lost. As you go, proclaiming something real. That does not mean you have to become a street preacher or knock on strangers' doors. It means living so genuinely connected to our Father that the people closest to you, the ones who are wandering, the ones who are hurting, the ones who have quietly given up on the idea that our Father could ever want them back, they see something in you that makes them wonder. They see a lost sheep that was found, and they start to believe that maybe they could be too. The 12 disciples walked out of that conversation with Jesus and changed the known world, not because they were impressive, because they went, because they carried a real message to real people who desperately needed to hear it, because they did not wait for perfect conditions or perfect confidence, they just moved. You do not need more than that either. You need a willing heart and a direction. Jesus has already given you both. Go to the lost. As you go, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And it starts today, right where you already are.